Hi muckers, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing very well. I'm actually really intrigued for today's video and the response to it. We are talking about someone we've never talked about on this YouTube channel, and it is actually Chappell Roan, who has quickly became one of my favorite artists. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that Chappell Roan has quickly became a lot of people's favorite artist. Your favorite artist's favorite artist. Now, if you do not know, Chappell Roan has her debut album, The Rise and Fall of a Midwest Princess, and no joke, you can see that I have hearted every song. I genuinely believe that it is one of the best debut albums of all time. It's definitely one of the best debut albums of recent, and it came out in 2023. Every song is incredible, and I genuinely mean that. Like, every song is really incredible, and it's one of the times when the artist lives up to the hype. Like, the music lives up to the hype. Now, Chappell Roan, by the way, I want to give some of my favorites on this album first. Coffee, Picture You, Kaleidoscope, and California. Now, Chappell Roan has went from here down to basically my number one played on Spotify. I really love the music. And for a little bit of Chappell Roan lore, Chappell Roan had been releasing music over the course of, over the course of time. And when her album was released, ultimately, all of the singles that she had released, I think she had released like 6 from the album before the album actually came out, they didn't perform great. And it was also during a time period when artists were not really touring, so she was not making a lot of money for her label, and she had ultimately gotten dropped from her label for not making a lot of money. And she had expressed how she wanted to give up on music, and basically it just wasn't worth it to her. And she was going through a lot of struggles. She's been very open about her mental health struggles. And she had done Coachella and released Good Luck Babe, which was a standalone single that wasn't on the album. And Chappell Roan exploded. We have not seen the phenomenon that has been Chappell Roan's success in a very long time, where it was just an organic boom of a singer and an artist. And Chappell Roan has been on most people's radars. I mean, has went up to 40 million monthly listeners on Spotify. And we're seeing Adele speaking. Whenever I was at Adele in Munich a couple days ago, Adele literally had a part of her show where she talked about how much she loves Chappell Roan, and she's just discovered her. We have the likes of like Ariana Grande and all these really big celebrities, Selena Gomez and stuff, speaking about how they've just discovered Chappell Roan and they absolutely adore her. Now, Chappell Roan has been very honest and very upfront about her struggles with being in the public eye. And she has just posted 2 videos, which has completely unraveled a conversation online. And I would love to kind of give my take on it. And I would love to hear what you all have to say. I'm going to assume that most people watching this know a little bit about Chappell Roan at this stage. And if you don't, I hope that lore was enough. But basically, Chappell Roan is a queer artist from the Midwest, and a lot of people really identified with her music once they were exposed to her. You know, the music is about living your life, embracing your queerness, discovering your queerness, going out, having fun, discovering yourself, being young, and a lot of people have fully identified with that. And a lot of people are coming to their own understanding of queerness through listening to her music. And a lot of people are just really connecting to Chappell Roan on that basis. So she has developed a really strong fan base in a very short amount of time. Like, I'm sitting here before you wearing a Taylor Swift shirt. And this is one of the main artists. As much as I love Taylor, there's a lot of criticism that I can give her for multiple things. Because I don't want anyone to think that I'm shitting on Chappell and then be like, oh, well, he's a Taylor fan. I just want to tell you that I can like artists and also give them criticism or give my opinion on what they say. Just because you like someone's music doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say or agree with them as, in general. Now, Taylor Swift has a very similar, really in it fan base, right? The difference is Taylor Swift really feeds into that parasocial with her fan base. And we've talked about this concept of parasocial for a very long time. And that's why Taylor Swift fans feel so identified with her. They identify with her music in some way, and Taylor will feed into, them knowing her. She did it a lot more so a couple years ago. But even with the Eras tour and stuff, Taylor for before eras, you know, really, really, really would be on social media talking to fans all the time, would invite them over to her house, like all these different things where she would really be in the fan dynamic. She would have her favorites that she would see at shows and stuff, and it was an attainable thing for Taylor fans to get noticed by her. And again, she has set it up in a way where her fans feel the need to defend her in everything. They want to support her in everything. And we see this with a lot of artists, but Taylor is really one of the most like rapid artists who has this insane fan parasocial relationship. And I know that for a fact because I've gone to multiple Eras tour dates. And I'm actually, at the time of filming this, going to the final London show tomorrow. I don't know what time this video is going to go out, but I'm going to the final show in London tomorrow. And, you know, I witness the Swiftiness. You know, Taylor will stand on stage and, you know, there will be planned bits where the crowd will try cheer louder than the previous crowd for longer. Like, the full thing is just loving Taylor. And Chappell Roan is really starting to get a very similar audience that feels so deeply connected to her. The difference is Chappell Roan does not feed into that parasocial. Whereas Taylor Swift feeds into the parasocial, and, you know, she has, like, Taylor Nation and stuff that will feed into it. Chappell Roan is being very honest that she doesn't want to feed into the parasocial. We've seen this before with the likes of Doja Cat. Doja Cat has been very open about fan dynamic and, you know, trying to feel comfortable with it and boundaries being crossed. And it's weird because as a society, we kind of preach that celebrities should have more privacy, but then when we have a celebrity kind of preaching that they want privacy, a lot of people are really taken back by it. So Chappell Roan has been very honest about the fact that she doesn't like being famous and that she blew up very quickly. And honestly, I don't know what it would be like, and you don't know what it would be like, to kind of go from releasing music all this time, no one really cared about it, and then you have a song go absolutely viral, and you're not even just a one-hit wonder. Like, people are obsessed with you, and they're identifying with you so much because your music is really great and your performances are really great. But the difference with Chappell Roan is that she actively doesn't want you and me to think like we know her. And a lot of people have never seen this before. And a lot of people are saying that it's very rude. Sorry, I need to drink my tea. I've been losing my voice. It's one of those like vocal zone teas that like coat your throat. People haven't seen this before, where an artist is basically saying, I understand parasocial. I don't want any part of it. Because we're so used to subconsciously being involved in the parasocial. So we spend money, so we go to shows, so we buy merch, so we defend them, so we whatever. This is a complicated issue when it comes to this Chappell Roan video. We're going to watch it and we're going to talk about it. Because there's multiple different angles here, right? So anyways, let's get to this. So she just posted this recently. And by the way, I also do think it is important to note that for a long time, Chappell has been saying that she doesn't want her fans to think of her as a friend. So this isn't just a random thing, but this is the first time that's really gone mainstream, and people are confused by it. But let's talk about it. Let's watch the first.
I need you to answer questions. Just answer my questions for a second. If you saw a random woman on the street, would you yell at her from the car window? Would you harass her in public? Would you go up to a random lady and say, can I get a photo with you? And she's like, no, what the fuck? And then you get mad at this random lady? Would you be offended if she says no to your time because she has her own time? Would you stalk her family? Would you follow her around? Would you try to dissect her life and bully her online? This is a lady you don't know. And she doesn't know you at all. Would you assume that she's a good person? Assume she's a bad person? Would you assume everything you read about her online is true? I'm a random bitch. You're a random bitch. Just think about that for a second, okay?
Okay, and we'll go on to the other one, then we'll talk about it.
I don't care that abuse and harassment, stalking, whatever, is a normal thing to do to people who are famous or a little famous, whatever. I don't care that it's normal. I don't care that this crazy type of behavior comes along with the job, the career field I've chosen. That does not make it okay. That doesn't make it normal. It doesn't mean I want it. It doesn't mean that I like it. I don't want whatever the fuck you think you're supposed to be entitled to whenever you see a celebrity. I don't give a fuck if you think it's selfish of me to say no for a photo or for your time or for a hug. That's not normal. That's weird. It's weird how people think that you know a person just because you see them online or you listen to the art they make. That's fucking weird. I'm allowed to say no to creepy behavior. Okay?
Okay. Let's talk about this. So, that tea is so hot that my nose is running. I don't mean this. I mean my actual fucking tea. So, celebrities do not owe anyone anything. That is, please stick with me here because I have multiple different angles with this. Celebrities don't owe us anything. That is a given. Chappell Roan is very clearly uncomfortable with the idea of what has happened to her, which is that she has blown up. Now, we are dealing with someone who already said that they don't want crazy fan dynamics, and now they've blown up, where they're the biggest star in the entire world. And I can't comprehend, if you're already struggling with that concept, going from not being recognized on the street to one day everyone's taking photos of you in the street, everyone's, trying to stalk your family and stuff. It's not right, and celebrities don't owe you anything. However, Chappell Roan is very clearly struggling mentally with this concept of being celebrity. And it is going to be a case of self-sabotage to her career if she does not make changes. What changes do I mean? She needs to have some sort of balance here where she is not that involved or something, right? She keeps talking about art. Make the art, have someone run your social media where you have a disconnect to it. Now, this conversation of people coming up and thinking they can just hug you and thinking they can just talk to you and ask for a photo and stuff, it's a little bit iffy because when you create music and your entire brand is about what it is, which is having a niche of people feel so identified with you, to turn them down is obviously going to, unfortunately, like, if we're going to be real, is going to impact her career eventually. Because we've seen people do this with Doja Cat, where they will just turn on you by being like, you're ungrateful. And this is the conversation I'm seeing online. More so people being like, this is coming across ungrateful for fans. And it's a double-edged sword. Like, yes, celebrities do not owe you anything, and to make a video like this is great, to be honest. People preach for celebrities to be honest. It's great that a celebrity's being honest. The tone in which this was said and the way it's like immediately cutting down the fan dynamic in its entirety is going to impact her career in the long run. And I do think that she needs some sort of stronger team around her to kind of deal with what is going on in her career and the boom. And obviously fans need to have boundaries and understand that as well. But this is... And it's shocking to people. It's shocking to people because people aren't used to seeing a celebrity acknowledge a parasocial relationship. However, people preach that dynamic should change. They preach that celebrities feed into parasocial. Now we have a celebrity saying, I know what's going on, you don't know me, and that's also valid. The tone in which and the way it was said obviously is not the greatest, if we're being real. And again, I do think it will have some sort of career impact eventually. And maybe that's what Chappell Roan wants. Maybe she is trying to self-sabotage in a way. Who knows? This is a very interesting conversation. Because we can just say, celebrities don't owe you shit. They don't know you. You don't know them. Valid. But celebrities have also given you your career. That doesn't mean that you should have to take every photo, have to hug them or whatever. But to speak so poorly and negatively about your fans is not going to be great in general. Now, this is someone who has spoken about being in, I'm pretty sure she had said about being in, like, she doesn't want to go back to the mental hospital and stuff. I want to be very sensitive to the fact of the conversation of mental health here. And I can also see, thousands of fans on Twitter being so upset that basically their favorite artist hates them, and doesn't want anything to do with them. And there's people being like, well, I went to a meet and greet and all like this. So it kind of just opens up Pandora's box of ruining the relationship from fan to artist. And here's the thing. Maybe this is going to be the new age of celebrities that are setting boundaries. And we're not used to seeing that. So I don't know what's going to happen moving forward with the concept of parasocial and celebrities. I don't think it's bad that a celebrity is having this conversation. I just don't think it was done in a good way. And again, I'm being sympathetic to someone who very clearly has opened up about mental health struggles. And also, I do not know what Chappell Roan is going through from blowing up as quick as she did. It's like unfathomable. I do think that when she's talking about people stalking her and stuff, I think gripping that in with just fans, you don't know me and stuff, yes, that is very true. But I think when you make such personal music, people will identify with you on a personal level. And also, that's not a bad thing. That's why people enjoy your music. They find themselves in it. They can relate to it, specifically being, the story of a queer artist from the Midwest and blah, 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 living life in LA and stuff. It's a story that people can relate to. Discovering your queerness, discovering your identity. I do worry about Chappell Roan because I think that she is quite possibly one of the greatest artists that we have seen in the last decade, quite frankly. And it would be an awful shame if all of that would just stop because of fans not understanding boundaries. I do think, though, that this is very clearly someone who has boomed too quickly and they don't know how to handle it. And that's absolutely fucking valid. But people need to be looking out for her. Like, she has to have a smarter team, or she has to be like, we've seen this with Doja Cat. People will unfortunately rally against you if they deem you ungrateful. I'm not condoning that, but I'm saying we've seen this happen before. Again, I wanted to make a video on this because I just kind of wanted to open up the conversation of we've never seen a celebrity address a parasocial before, and celebrities do not owe us anything. Valid. I think the conversation about talking about fans, though, can be a slippery slope. I'm so intrigued for the comment section on this video. Please let me know down below. Let's talk about it. I'll see you in my next one, and goodbye.